¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás, Benjamin? How are you today?
See, very good. Well, yeah. I mean, what a start to the year. Last time we spoke, it was before Christmas, and we were talking about farmers in Argentina, but in a world. Probably, happy to get to Christmas with some good prices, and I'm sure that they couldn't have dreamed of better prices post Christmas. So I'm very well, and I guess farmers are well as well. Even if it's a bit concerning when we are looking at the weather in parts of Argentina at the minute.
And the recent days we saw in the market that fell the prices. What changed in the grain market recently?
Well, I think after such a surge in prices, just to bear in mind, but we have seen, wheat prices, corn prices running, 40, 50% since early July, almost a straight line. So I think that's psychologically speaking, the markets were overdue some kind of a technical correction. Is it going to last? I'm not sure, to be honest, because when you look around, you still have some, orange, red lights in some places. And the stocks, wheat, corn, soybeans are at multi-year lows. So when you are looking at the level of stocks, and even more so in the biggest exporting countries of grains, well, we can't really afford any sort of big weather accident. And on the other side, when you're looking at the level of demand, in particular coming from China, well, you've got the perfect ingredients to really see, a still, I would say, strong prices ahead, and the level of caution is fairly limited. So, I think it's more like profit taking, some kind of I would say overdue correction, rather than a very big change in the fundamentals at the moment.
Okay, and what factor is will be the attention of the traders in the next days? And did we will stop in being South American or and orientate to China and to US the relationship between those countries with a new president?
Well, I mean, once again, a few changes since we last spoke. Personally, we are out of the EU now with the Brexit, but we also have to consider that we've got finally a vaccine against this COVID crisis. And in the US, a new president, and it looks like Mr. Biden is really much in favor of ethanol. He's a bit more green than Mr. Trump. So I think short term, South America is still the key driver, and we need to see a good crop, even if it's already compromised in Argentina, as you know, and you're probably more documented than myself about this subject. But from a production perspective, it's been bad. I mean, it's a bad start. Plantings have been delayed. Some irreversible damages already occurring, particularly on the corn, but the soybeans as well. When you're looking at the level of percentage of good, excellent soybean corn in Argentina, a bit concerning. And why? Because you've got La Nina, quite bad from a producer perspective. And when you move just on the other side of the river in Brazil, well, we have seen as well some kind of dryness and big range of production estimates when it comes to the soybeans, between 128, 133 million tons. And that's short term, I think, still a key driver for soybean prices in particular. And progressively we're going to move to the second corn crop plantings in Brazil, which is obviously the biggest and most important part when it comes to the Brazil corn production, accounting for about 70-75% of their crops. So very important for the market to really get access to that supply. And as I said, we can't afford seeing a bad crop or poor performance in Brazil because further north, on the other side of the wall in the US, stocks are really tight, and it didn't really take the market by surprise. But when you compare the first figures from the USDA, when we are talking about corn, essentially between the first estimate in May 2020 and the January estimate, essentially we've lost the equivalent of the Argentinian production in terms of corn. So you can imagine that when we get rid of about 46, 47 million tons of corn, things are getting tight. And once again, nothing new coming from Ukraine, but they've been badly hit by dry conditions. So that's from a production perspective, and from a consumption perspective, you've got China. They are buying a lot. So that's at the moment still optimistic when it comes to price forecast.
Well, in your opinion, the prices go up, continue go up, and do you have any factor that can go down the prices now or not?
Well, yeah, I think so. We still need to consider that, we've got this vaccine. So I think the critical point is really coming from the demand, because, we were concerned about, maybe a lack of demand, and it hasn't really materialized. And what we were concerned about as well, after such a big rally in price, and if you remember in 2007, 2008, and then in 2012, we had some significant unrests where essentially people couldn't get access to the food. So this really negative factor could really come from the demand side of the equation. But once again, I think it's very difficult for governments in the world to forget about supplying food to their population. So at the moment, the COVID is probably the only factor which could really push those markets down.
Okay, thank you. And the last question for you. What is Paris Grain Day? Can you explain to us?
Well, yes, maybe, but I think that the best thing for you is to register and see by yourself, of course.
Can you tell us or encourage
Joke
us
aside,
to?
joke aside.
Exactly.
Essentially, it's the 5th edition of the Paris Grain Day, and the idea was to provide some market intelligence from the key players, really well-respected guys, because we think that it's very important to share information, and also to see to try to see if our opinions are aligned. And essentially, the Paris Grain Day is going to cover the key elements of the markets, with some guys coming from Argentina, of course, covering the soy meal market, but some guys as well coming from the US, from the USDA, so some other guys covering new tools in the financial markets, or the palm oil. So essentially, it's a big gathering with one key objective is just to share information, and also try to predict the market, not necessarily for the next 3 or 4 months, but to really give a taste of what could happen over the next 12 to 24 months.